Yeah. We back again, the GodChaserz podcast in over 100 countries. Listen, you guys, this may be one of the most important interviews for an entrepreneur, for an artist. On the phone now, I want to say a lady who should be all over the place speaking about entrepreneurship. She's a music lover, an entrepreneur. Some say an idealist, some say a realist. She is one of those people that when she took a idea, she made it possible with the power of technology, with an artist in mind. She wants you to win. My guest this week, the founder of one of the apps that I have told you guys is the number one thing to have in your artillery if you are a traveling artist. Even if you are a traveling person who does books, authors, you guys need to hear everything she has to say. The founder of MerchCat. This week we have Vanessa Ferrer. How are you today?
I am doing well.
I want first you guys to know what MerchCat is, so I'm going to let Vanessa give you just a small background on this app that all of you entrepreneurs and independent artists need to have in your repertoire.
MerchCat is a platform, a mobile app and web platform for artists to sell and manage their merchandise at live shows. It is a tool that artists would use at their merch table when somebody comes up to purchase an item. They would use it as a point of sale system. At the same time, it tracks the inventory that they're selling real time, how many t-shirts, how many CDs, etc. And then it gives you reports at the end that tell you what your sales were, what your inventory is left, what you've sold at what show, and some other cool metrics that help artists understand what is going on in their merch business.
And how did you come up with MerchCat? Because it's such an interesting concept. I wish I had it maybe like 10 years ago when I started getting on the road. How did you come up with the concept?
I came from another industry. My background is originally in accounting and finance, but I had always been passionate about music, and I started working with some artists in a management capacity. We got merch, we were selling merch, and it was really hard for me to understand what was happening in the merch business, like what items we were selling, what sizes we were selling, what styles people preferred over others, what cash was coming in, how much money we made. And I was using Excel spreadsheets, PayPal report, Word documents that they would send me saying, we sold one extra small shirt at X venue last night, and I was trying to put all of the pieces together to try and figure out, what do we order next? Is this item profitable? Do fans want this? Are we getting our money back that we invested into our merch business? Is this really, what's selling and what's not? At that point, I went looking for a tool to use, and I couldn't find anything. And through those experiences, the light bulb went off for how important merchandise is for an artist business, especially an emerging or DIY artist business who's using that money to get to the next gig or make their next record or whatever it is. But that's pretty much one of the only ways that they make money. So seeing all of this and seeing how it took so much time to figure out what was going on and artists probably weren't taking that time, I decided, and I had the opportunity to create an app that did everything. As soon as the sale takes place, if you're using MerchCat, you swipe the card or take the cash, you complete the sale, and your inventory is automatically reduced. So you know what you sold, and the report is created that tells you what you sold at each show.
It's such a beautiful app that you created. And the thing with being an artist, and sometimes like people like myself who has like a skeleton crew, I might just go with a DJ or a hype man, and having inventory is so important, but it's missed so many times because you have to go and talk to the fans, and you have to go and interact with the people who are over the shows and the promoters and places like that. And I go into a lot of churches, and it's a big thing to miss. But with MerchCat, it's one of those things that you don't have to worry about, because after the dust settles of the show and the people, it's over. So it's such a great thing, and I just encourage all artists, if you have an iPhone, get MerchCat immediately after you hear this podcast. And even if you're not an artist and you're an author and you have multiple books, it works with your books and any type of other things that you sell at your merch table with t-shirts and things like that. And Vanessa she is a forerunner, and I think for the ladies who are listening to the GodChaserz podcast, she should inspire you, because she's not only influencing the music world, but this is such a tech world world thing as an entrepreneur and as a woman, which I take my hat off to her for doing. Is such a big accomplishment. As an entrepreneur, Vanessa, what is one of the biggest lessons you learned doing MerchCat?
I had always been in structured environments, corporate America, so to speak, with going into other people's infrastructure and doing things and kind of being told what to do or what not to do. And coming out of it, I think that I found that I was always meant to be in a leadership position, and I had the ability to know the different pieces that had to fit together in making a business go. And moving into technology, which is something that was not in my wheelhouse, I kind of let my business sensibilities that I had gathered take a back seat sometimes when I felt that things weren't going right, or I had problems with my initial developers, and in certain senses, my gut was constantly telling me, like, this doesn't feel right, you should question it. But because it was something that I was new to, a new industry, and I said, maybe this is the way they do things in the technology industry. So I was like not listening to myself and all of the good experience that I had gathered over the years before I came into this. So I would say that going into an entrepreneur endeavor, don't forget the things that you've gathered over the years, the experiences that you've had that made you this entrepreneur. Do question things, even if you feel like, well, maybe you don't know and maybe they're right because it's out of your wheelhouse. Do ask questions, follow your gut, and don't second guess yourself. Usually your gut is right. I would highly recommend researching things, doing your due diligence when getting involved with other business people. There are a lot of hangers-on when they see something that they think might be successful. Like, vet everybody. If you're a serious person about working towards your goal, don't let other people kind of hold you back because of their own shortcomings and things that they haven't been able to accomplish.
Wow, that's big. That is in such great advice. You've been around and talked to many artists, helped a lot of artists. Like, I just want to encourage you, Vanessa, like, you don't know how many people's light bills and mortgages that MerchCat help pay. So I just want to encourage you and let you know that this app has done so much good in the artist world. So with that being said, what has been the biggest issue you've seen with indie artists as you have helped them along in this journey?
I think a lot of artists are really open and, cheerleading MerchCat and keeping track of what's going on in their merchandise business, having a better merchandise business, and then I lose them. They go off and get back into their old bad habits. I would say that your business as an artist is a business, and it needs to be treated as such. And like, merch is not a secondary thing. It's really, I've said it before, but it's really one of the only two ways that artists make solid money today. Cash in your pocket right after a show. I encourage them to take it more seriously. I get a lot of, yes, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then I see them a year later and they're still doing the same thing. That's the biggest thing. It's actually execution, I think, is the biggest issue. We're all busy. I know artists rather be working on their art, which is one of the reasons that I created MerchCat, was to help them be able to have more time for their art and not focusing so much on, not spending so much brain strain on this end of their business. I would say that the issue is in the execution. So take it seriously and actually take those next steps to have a better merchandise business, because nobody is going to do it for you. Being that it is one of the main artist revenue streams, it's looked at. Like, if you're looking for a manager or a record label, they're looking at, how are we going to make money? And usually it's off of the money that the artist is making, some percentage or commission or whatever it is. If you're not making money at your shows and you're not making money at your merch, you really have nothing to offer them, and they're not going to invest in you. Execute.
You heard it. Last question before I let you go, Vanessa. Is there anything new coming down the pipeline at MerchCat?
We added this year a Bands in Town integration, which pulls in artist shows, so they no longer have to enter their show information if they want to track sales by show. If they already enter their information,
Bands in Town,
they can pull it right in. With a push of a button.
Wow.
We added a Square integration, which we originally did not have. So now if you're already using Square, it's really just one or two more touches in your store. Use MerchCat and have all of that great information. What we have coming in the next few months is a fan side app, which I'm really excited about. It opens it up to fans of artists who are using MerchCat to be able to go in and make the purchase themselves. So it can essentially replace a web store.
Wow.
But the fan will be able to purchase at the show and either pick it up at the merch table or send it to their home. Or if the artist chooses, they could purchase outside of the show anytime, anywhere. So for those situations where a fan might see a long line at the merch table and walk out and then say, I wish I would have gotten that shirt, they can now, they're sitting in their car, they can go order the shirt and have it sent to their home. A lot of other scenarios that MerchCat fan will help with artists, exposing one artist to another artist's fan base, being kind of like an open marketplace, so to speak, for different artists' merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go in to see your merchandise and I see that there's a featured artist, I could go into the featured artist and then look at their merchandise. If their merchandise is interesting, there will be links to go to their website, and their socials, their YouTube, their Spotify, to hear their music, see what videos they have and things like that, to explore other artists. We have a lot in store for phase 2 of that, but that's pretty much what phase 1 will allow for. And we're really excited because I just feel like it opens up merchandise sales for fans pretty much anytime, anywhere, which can help artists make more money.
Awesome. You guys, listen, go on your app store, go to the Apple store, download MerchCat. You can follow Vanessa on Twitter. She's at VF in Focus, and you can get all the up-to-date information about MerchCat on Twitter as well at merch_cat, and that's with a C, not a K, for you Kit Kat fans. So you heard it here first. Vanessa, thank you so much for being here. We love you. We're gonna make sure you hit her up and tell her you heard her on the GodChaserz podcast. This your man Brinson. We in over 100 countries. You God chasing the now.